Hello, everybody, and welcome to a special birthday episode of Trials and Trebuchets. I'm here today, and my name is Luke, and I'm the first to wish Sam a happy birthday.
Happy birthday,
it's totally
Sam!
today.
100%.
Happy birthday, Sam!
Absolutely
Happy
today.
birthday, Sam!
Absolutely this month.
Totally
Don't
today.
question it.
Every day's your birthday.
How does it feel to be another year old, Sam?
It's like the opposite of like a leap year.
Yeah. And today we're going to be playing, as you can probably judge by the title of this episode, we're going to play Wanderhome again, the second time, the sequel to Wanderhome, Wanderhome.
Duh.
Wandering further
And
home.
So,
To wander
just
to
a little
home.
reminder, if you want the rules in depth, go listen to last year. I'm sure you can pick up some fragments of what has happening, but it's not a super rule-intensive game, and it's quite lighthearted and fun, so please, if you want the rules, go listen to last year's. If not, just stick around. As a reminder of who everyone is and who they're going to be playing in this wonderful pastoral adventure, I am Luke, and I will be playing the teacher Novak Beberaci, who is a greyhound teacher. He's old.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ben, and I will also be playing this lovely game of Wanderhome with you all. And I shall be playing Angelo Carmine. Their pronouns are they, them, and they are a lovely bat moth tender.
Moth tender.
And I am Carla, and I am the dancing queen, the Ruby Sue kangaroo.
And my name is Sarah, and this time I've decided to make a new character because I think it's more fun. I'm going to be a poet, and my name is Basil B. Bonnet. He, him.
Basil Bonnet! Oh!
And hi, my name is Sam, and I will be playing the Firelight Raccoon, Soul Beetroot, pronouns they, them.
Perfect.
What is
perfect.
Basil's pronoun?
Basil B. Bonnet. What's your pronouns, Basil B. Bonnet?
He, him.
Okay. And Novaks are also he, him.
Understood.
Sarah, our good friend, the creator, brain parent of Basil B. Bonnet, could you tell us about your character? Walk through the playbook and everything for us.
Absolutely. So I am a poet. My name is Basil, and my animal is a sea otter. The first thing that we are asked to do is select 2 descriptions out of a little list, 2 that people assume I am, 2 that I actually am. People assume that I am pretentious and formal. I am actually casual and romantic. I have a tweed jacket with shoulder pads, a fashionable cap, which is a gray beret, delicate spectacles, and a literary quote for every occasion. I'm asked then to speak about my art, my poetry. So Basil, I have always wanted to be in love, right? I've immersed myself in books and poems and art about love and even written prized works about it, but I've never really felt it myself. So I am traveling the world with my companions in hope of finding a muse for which I can write a true expression of my feelings. So in that way, I sort of selected a metaphorical interpretation of that. I'm writing about a place that doesn't exist, but you hope to someday spot in the clouds and the people who claim to have been there. Then I have to choose a theme from the list that is often metaphorically intertwined in my work. I chose the seasons and how their changes change you, and one that finds its way into my work nonetheless, which is the rebellion and what happened to its adherents. Then there are 2 books I have to choose. One I read from constantly and one I have memorized. Read from constantly, I chose a cheap paperback you found on the side of the road whose author you wonder about constantly. And for memorized, I said a tiny guidebook full of practical life advice gifted by your local bookseller when you set foot. So the cheap paperback is called A Little Corner of the Country by J.P. Lazybones. It was cheap and near completely destroyed, but its descriptions of love amidst a post-rebellion world absolutely set my heart aflame. It's one of the things that inspired me to write my own similar quality poetry. But nobody that I've ever spoken to has ever heard of this book or who J.P. Lazybones might be. It's something I'd like to find out for myself so that I can thank this author myself. And the tiny guidebook is called Tips for a Fuller Life, and it is full of the absolute worst life advice that anyone has ever seen. Like, don't pay for anything if you can get away with not doing that, or stuff like, if you get hot chocolate on your clothes while traveling, just pour hot chocolate on everything else so that it matches. So I have this book of tips and experience, but sometimes I need to find out through action that maybe I shouldn't follow this advice.
Maybe you shouldn't pour hot chocolate on all your clothes.
No, do that.
Well, if you get a stain on it, you know,
to cover up the
that way
stain.
it won't show up.
That's how you know it's yours.
Oh my gosh.
Wonderful. And do you have any questions to ask?
Yeah, I do. So I get to ask questions from people in each different direction, one to the left and one to the right. Are we just doing, are you to the left, Luke, and you to the right, Sam?
Yes.
Okay. To Novak Biberaci, what did your style of storytelling teach me?
Novak used to teach the kind of classic literature. And so I think he has a very conservative style to writing, and any overt floweriness is not something he's a fan of. More classical works and just very much like that classical tone is what is conveyed, and kind of like return to form of those things is important and is beautiful of its own right.
It's true. I can get so caught up with my head in the clouds that sometimes it's nice to remember to have these grounded descriptions of things to create an emotional anchor for the reader. And to Soul Beetroot, are you okay with the way I write about you?
Oh.
I imagine we've been probably traveling with each other maybe for a little bit now, and you have seen me trusting people kind of just like automatically. You've seen me take us in the wrong direction a couple of times. Everyone else in the group seems to be like, yeah, this is just how they do things. And so, like, you've shown me I think you've shown me some of your writing, and it's shown, like, I don't know why exactly you're a guide, because you just keep doing these things. And I think it's made Soul very conscious to the fact of, like, oh, these are a lot of mistakes that I'm making regularly, but no one else has told me I'm making these mistakes. So I think they appreciate it. They're like, okay, there are things I can do to be a better guide.
Love it. Love it.
I see. Well, now that we've introduced Basil B. Bonnet.
He was holding it for dramatic effect.
It was. I totally wasn't looking at my notebook. Now that we've introduced our wonderful sea otter companion, replacing Eden the merchant who wandered off.
Eden was not a merchant. Eden was a pilgrim. I played a merchant in the Wanderhome game we played on Saturday.
I did.
Eden's goals had diverged from ours, so we had to bid them
found their
farewell.
place.
And maybe one day we shall meet again.
It's true.
Maybe. So, nonetheless, shall we find out what's our next step in the order of operations? Are we immediately going on to creating the new place that we're journeying to?
I believe so. So for anybody who remembers from the previous episode, we had taken some time to spend a couple days in Warthaven, I believe.
Warthaven,
which was a lovely little coastal town. It was chilly in the middle of winter.
During snowfall.
There were a lot of chunky barges and stuff. It was a nice place, but we decided to take our leave eventually to explore what the rest of the world has to offer. And over time, we've encountered new places to explore and take in.
It's true. So to create a new place, we have, and that'll be on page 23, our natures. We have the comfortable places, the verdant places, and the liminal places, and we can either roll or simply choose 3 different natures to combine and make choices for them, and then all together that's going to create a place. And in some ways, something might be metaphorically something. For example, something might metaphorically be a bridge or literally be a bridge. That'll be up to us to decide together.
Also, though, on page 36, there are strange places that we can also choose from, which are sprawling, lonely, and desolate. So, of those, what do we want to go with?
I know last time we rolled for some of these things.
Yes, so there are 6 categories of place, right? There's sort of like the 3 comfortable, the more comfortable ones, and then there's these 3 stranger ones. Yeah. That could be a D6 to determine the broader category, and then we can pick from there a few of them.
Sure.
Or we can do it a different way.
Let's roll a D6 in that case.
I have a D6 in hand.
Thank you, Ben. So prepared.
Oh, that was easy.
Well,
we have landed on comfortable.
Ooh.
Oh, wonderful.
Oh.
So we choose one comfortable nature from here, or we can roll for one.
Let's see. What do we have for comfortable? So we have a farm, a garden, a market, a monastery, a tower, and a workshop.
Ooh.
The last place was a market, so maybe something
last
different.
place also had a farm, I believe.
Yeah.
Correct. I'm partial to personally,
Rerolling?
monastery.
Ooh.
But
Why don't we go to the
am-
monastery page if that's what we want to
Yeah.
do? And then we have some
Let's have a
questions
look.
to answer.
Yeah.
A monastery is a place where a community gathers to learn from the past and cultivate answers to the complicated questions of the world.
There are 2 aesthetic elements from the list that we can choose. We have the hermit's cottage, booming bells, a simple herb garden, scriptorium filled with knowledge, underground catacombs, a wise elder who remembers you from when you were very young, or something else of your own invention.
I do like the scriptorium.
I love the scriptorium.
Is a great word.
I would love a scriptorium as a writer as well.
So the scriptorium filled with knowledge, that's a definite.
Okay.
Let's see.
I kind of like the hermit's cottage.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot more like naturey.
We can absolutely do that.
Yeah, Hermit's Cottage I think is nice. It's just a cottage out in the middle of here. We've skipped steps, folks. This place can always describe the rhythm of daily life. This place can show tensions caused by generational divides. And then we can ask the question, are you willing to wait to get the answer you seek?
Do not tell them the answer either way.
Yeah, it is a hermit's cottage. I think fits with those really, really nicely. A scriptorium.
Yeah, it's an older monastery. There's some ivy and moss growing on the sides of it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Plus, if they're off separated, like they've set up their own like gardens and everything like that. Like they're very like self-sufficient, everything like that.
We also get to choose one folklore about this place: the generous mentor and her betrayal, the janitor and the secret lessons he taught, the alabaster monk, or something else of your own invention.
I'm a personal fan of the janitor and the secret lessons.
The
That's a
janitor.
nice
I
one.
like. Is it necessary that the folklore be a background component, or can the folklore take a full front position and be there's just this one hermit's cottage, there's a single person who lives here who is not a scribe or anything of the sort, just a lowly janitor who tends to the place and keeps it safe and secure and clean for any travelers who might happen on by it, and teaches people things when they show up.
Yeah,
Love it.
I think
Love it.
that's a cool spin on folklore, because it's like folklore is usually stuff that's for stuff that might have happened in the past, or it's like these are rumors that have like happened back then, but we are living in the folklore, so this is happening as like in the present time.
Love that.
So this is folklore in the making.
yeah.
Like it.
Oh, that's
We also
cute.
we now get to choose 2 more natures.
Yes.
We can select him, or Ben can roll a d6 again, or one of us can roll a d6 again.
Sam has a D6.
Sam?
so
Have
Sam
Sam.
can roll.
Sure.
Roll
Birthday
that
D6.
D6.
Roll that birthday D6.
That is a 4, so sprawling natures.
Sprawling.
Ooh.
So that gives
Carnival,
us
castle, furnace, metropolis, palace, university.
Interesting.
Hopefully,
The one that I immediately dismissed from the list, and therefore one
Yeah.
that I actually think could be interesting, is furnace. Because I saw that and I was like, I don't know what that is, whatever. But now that makes me think we should approach it with curiosity.
Furnace. A warm place.
a
place
furnace
of
burns hot with the
warmth.
force of furious and creative fire. Ooh.
This is perfect.
The more I think about it,
Yeah.
a furnace actually would make sense being like near a monastery or like inside a monastery, because if a monastery is sort of in like a solitary area, they might need the means to like make their own tools and such, right?
It's more than just the furnace itself, though. Like, we can interpret that metaphorically. We've already chosen scriptorium. There's this lowly janitor, hermit man, or person who stays here and teaches lessons. The furnace fuels creativity, as it were. This is just So, are we all in favor of furnace in that case?
We can go with
Let's do
furnace.
it.
I like that.
I like
All right.
furnace.
Choose 2 aesthetic elements: a seething, flaming forge, walls of iron tools, ornate glassworks, a legendary blade left unfinished, an imaginative apprentice still learning the craft, a mighty smith with a burning grudge, not grunge. That's a different thing.
Grudge.
Something else of your own invention. Ornate glassworks.
I was thinking the exact same
Definitely
thing.
popped
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah, love it, love it.
I'm also a fan of the legendary blade left unfinished.
I am
Yeah.
too.
Does that feel like That
I
feels
like the
pretty-
idea that it's left unfinished intentionally as a sort of reminder that, because the world of Wanderhome used to be a time of war and rebellion, and we're now living in an era of peace. I love the blade as a reminder that we must never return to that era.
I really like that.
Absolutely.
Especially for that to be in a monastery. Like, yes, that's
Yeah.
And like
good.
It's sacred.
like somehow all I could think about with like especially the ornate glassworks, I think of cathedral
Like stained
like
glass.
stained glass windows. Exactly. That is
Yes.
telling
exactly
the
what I was
stories
thinking,
of the
Carla.
past.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
They abandoned warfare and in turn used their furnace and tools to create glass.
Love that.
I don't know if I'm the only one thinking this sort of thing, but it's like like middle of nowhere, like a cottagey looking place with all of this old knowledge and like these like stained glass windows, maybe like depicting like stories
Yeah.
in them. Like
Oh, I really
Yeah.
like that.
I really like it too.
Yeah.
This place is fucking sick.
Right?
This place is cool.
What's our folklore? What's
So,
our folklore?
the Eternal Forge and its iron servants, the Heaven Blade and its construction, the binding of the slobbery god, something else of your own invention, and I like the Heaven Blade. Just kind of goes back to the legendary blade left
Yeah.
unfinished.
Yeah, it fits in with that nicely. Like
Yeah.
the story of how
itself.
like this blade was intended to like truly end the war and such, but the war
But then the
like
war ended.
the war ended prematurely and
Yeah.
it was like deemed like this should not be finished. This is a tool that is used for something that is
I love that.
taboo. It is terrifying.
I really like
Yeah.
that. So I think that leaves us with one more.
One more nature.
Yes,
nature.
one more nature.
Give it to us. Does someone else want to roll? Is it
Who wishes
this?
to roll?
I can roll.
Carla rolls. this.
Carla's rolling.
We got a 5.
Ooh.
Is that?
So
Lonely
that
nature.
gives us
Lonely.
a cave, graveyard, mirage, mirror, moor, or wilderness.
Ooh.
I don't know why, but I really like graveyard. What do you guys think?
You know,
Graveyard or wilderness, probably.
so keen on graveyard. I'm gonna be real.
Graveyard does make sense because this is a monastery.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, it's like people buried from the war.
Yeah, because this
war
sort of
heroes.
theme of this is a monastery that once existed. Weapons were forged during the war. We are in an era of peace now. I feel like the graveyard as a way of symbolizing that and memorializing that is really cool.
Yeah, but like plus like I think like the aesthetic that we've given this place already kind of fits with wilderness because like we were like off like in the middle of nowhere, like
Yeah.
like
we don't need to
like
formalize
plants and
the
everything,
wilderness.
and like I think that like just kind of wraps together the idea of like this like little like place in the woods, like the stained glass windows and like all of like the heaven blades and stuff like that, and then the graveyard there.
A graveyard is a place of death where the lost are buried. This place can always describe the weight of the past and
Yeah.
show someone disrespecting the history of this place.
Or ask, will you tell us a story no one else could tell?
That's what the stained glass is for. All right, we're like 15 minutes in. I'm already making myself cry over here.
So now
We've
Wanderhome
made
effect.
such a bleak but like beautiful place.
That's the
it's
I love it.
beautiful
I
in
love
its
this game.
bleakness.
What's the aesthetic?
We have
What are our
scattered
choices?
cairns, melted candles, gravestones, mysterious lights, deep and profound silence, an old forgotten friend, now dead, something else of your own invention.
Deep
I
and
feel
profound
like the
silence.
silence.
Love the silence.
Yeah, deep and profound silence for sure. And gravestones is a good choice because,
Yeah. Yeah.
Next item is the folklore. So we have the candlelit council and their warning, the day the dead danced with us, the mist rabbit and her rictus grin, or something else of your own invention.
I like the mist rabbit and her rictus grin. I just love the idea that in this deep, quiet place, there's these sights that people see that have this undead aura around it. I just like that. I think there's something kind of cool about in a place that silence is so valued, these sights that may or may not be real. I don't know. I think
Yeah.
that's cool.
I was gonna say the day
Very
the dead danced with us,
spooky.
but then I realized, we kind of made this sad enough. Like, it'd be kind of melancholy to have the
I
dead
also
dance.
think that they deserve. I think they deserve rest. And
Yeah,
they
yeah.
have
They've
to-
had their
Yeah.
time in the light. I like Mr.
I
Rabbit.
Be at
think-
peace.
Like it. What does rectus mean?
It's
Like
like
a
a grimace.
Like
Yeah.
like
Like a pretty evil like grin. Like
Okay. Like it's not like a happy
No.
kind of like.
No.
Okay, so the bunny or the rabbit is definitely not watching over the.
No.
watching
Or maybe
over the
they are.
graveyard.
Maybe
they could
maybe
be.
they're misunderstood.
Yeah.
Oh.
I've never seen a rabbit grimace, but I'm sure I would misinterpret it as being upset.
Maybe the janitor knows something about it.
Oh, maybe that's
Maybe they
knowledge.
do. I guess there's only one way for us to find out.
Mm.
Is it to sit here and figure it out before we play?
No.
Okay.
The next
So-
thing we get to do is one of my favorites. I loved this so much last
Oh.
time. We get to pick a season.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh my god.
So quickly, the grand there's there's months within the seasons, but the big seasons are leap, bright, breathe, silt, and chill in that order. I know what I personally think, but I don't know if it super fits the tone of this place we've created.
Well, that could be interesting.
I was thinking I really wanted to play in the swarming, which is when all the bugs are up in the air and it's the time of like,
Ooh.
In the very beginning of Breathe.
In Breathe.
yes, the start of Breathe.
Swarming is when the air is filled with the buzzing of countless bugs. Yeah, that's... Let's do it. I think the disconnect can be interesting.
Okay.
So in that case, we choose one that this place lacks. The others are all present. There's dewdrops on leaf tips, constant distant buzzing, which is very interesting in a place that's typically silent, ornate and elaborate displays, or poachers and hunters afoot.
I think poachers and hunters afoot should be lacking.
It plays into the oh, interesting. Because the graveyard has a thing about disrespecting it. So I was thinking that poachers or hunters being afoot and not paying this place the respect it deserves.
True, that could also be one. I guess it is also in like a more wild area, so there
Yeah.
would be like people out in the woods hunting when they
Yeah.
shouldn't be.
In that case, would we maybe want the buzzing to be distant then? Like what if the silence that falls over this graveyard is almost magical? Like there should be a buzzing, but there isn't, and something about that is strange.
I like
That's
that.
good.
I think that's
Ooh,
good.
and we can also pick 3 to 4 signs of the month found in this place. There's a lot here.
Fireflies.
Fireflies at twilight. Moths everywhere.
I like long walks in the evening. That one
Yeah.
is really
Oh, yeah.
drawing me to it.
I feel like that's something the janitor also does every night.
Walks all the graves, brushes them off.
Yeah. Like just looks wanders over the monastery grounds, making sure that everything is as it should be.
I think in that case, it might also wrap into construction and repairs, like nightly walks to make sure everything is as it should be, like making a list of things that need to be fixed in the next day, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like that.
What have we chosen so far?
Long walks and construction.
Yeah, long walks in the evening and construction and repairs. So we can pick
Okay.
1 or 2 more. Mossy fields makes sense because it is a heavily natured area.
I like the visual of like moss growing on gravestones.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like the visual of a janitor going out. Again, this ties it back into the construction, like this moss just overgrowing, showing the age of this place, but then the janitor going out, or custodian going out to just tend to each of the graves, trim back any of the moss that might be encroaching too far over like the name or something like that.
I also think the fireflies at twilight would also be really good because it adds a
Yeah.
little bit of like spooky atmosphere when the lights
like
are kind of like
that.
flickering in and out.
Oh,
and
and at night it reflects into the stained glass windows,
Yes.
which would usually only happen during the day.
Mhm.
I really like this.
This is so adorable.
What a beautiful place.
Yeah.
I wonder if, because we've talked a lot about this sort of janitor character being here, but I'm assuming there are other people at this monastery too. What if it's almost a rotating list of people? Like it's less one that a lot of people dedicate their entire lives to staying at, and more you might come there for a few months, to study and to meditate, and then you leave. It's considered kind of a
Retreat.
like a temporary place, I guess.
Like a seclusion almost, maybe.
Transient. That's what
Oh.
I was looking for.
Not a place you'd stay for your life,
Yeah.
just a place that you
A place to get answers.
Yeah.
visit to.
Yeah, so we might run into people. Some folks might have just arrived. Some folks might have been there for months. But there's always a diversity of who is at this monastery and them learning to respect its ways.
And pilgrims are tend to be a popular
Yes.
type of people who visit the monastery as well, either for spiritual healing or for other personal, adventures and such.
Or people visiting like graves
to
of
pay their respects.
family members.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I like this place quite a bit.
It's so somber and pretty. I like it a lot.
Okay, what's our next step, folks?
It might be to name the place. Let's see. We also want to. I've just looked at the quick start rules. Chatting about the journey questions, pick out our playbooks, create our first place, decide what month it is. Then our next step would be to describe a couple kith who inhabit that place or who are traveling with us, and then we answer our final 4 questions. So there are different, I guess, pilgrims and people who stay. Maybe we should each name one or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, let's see. There's also a traits list as well, I believe.
Yes, which we will be using this year. Anyone who
Yeah.
listened to last year will know that we got too excited and didn't use it.
I have one that's good.
Ooh.
Go ahead. Tell us.
Oh, you want me to tell you?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
Ben.
it's a traumatized trait.
Ooh.
Oh.
So it's one of the ones that has its own little section.
We're going for a little bit more of a somber tone than
are.
last year.
Yeah, we are. We're going for a somber tone, and I think this individual is a black swan, and their traumatized trait is grieving.
Aww.
A grieving kith freshly mourns the loss of their love. They are often heartbroken parents, terrified exiles, and those promised greatness among others. Choose 1 to 2 they can always do. Hold tight to comfort and refuse to let go is the one that I picked.
This is a rough one.
It's a rough one.
Do you have a name for them, Ben?
Let me think. I think B is a good name.
Yeah.
I love
B?
that.
Like BEA.
Okay. Does anyone else have one?
Please pick something lighter. I'm sorry
Yeah,
for
yeah.
making
Okay,
you cry.
What I'm kind of imagining is there's this, imagine like this ram who kind of just spends time there, and I think the trait I want to give them, I kind of want to roll actually, but if it lands on traumatized, we're changing it. 4. So it'll be a personal trait. So I imagine they would be looking at this. I think the word that jumps out to me is luminescent.
Oh.
Full of light that casts a glow across the world.
I imagine like in this case it would be more like a metaphorical, like they're just like a presence to this area. And I think like 1 or 2 things that they always do is this is just telling us the things that they can do. This isn't us choosing what they can do. So in that case, I guess like just they are like metaphorically just luminescent, like they're just very like presence known while we're traveling here.
What's their name?
Their name is, weirdly enough, the first thing that popped in my head was Ophelia.
Yeah, why not?
Ophelia.
Aww.
Love that.
Hello, Ophelia.
Okay. I think that I have one.
Yeah.
I want to make an inquisitive kith, and this kith is a child who has been staying at the monastery for about 4 months now. Nobody is really sure kind of how they got there. They just sort of wandered there one day, but they love to ask questions. They love to read. They don't really seem to remember anything from where they were before. I think that this kid is... I like the idea of a kid that is like a kid, like a goat, and they're always asking questions and hoping to soak up the world. So for choosing 1 to 2 things they can always do, I think they're always holding something up to the light and asking, what's this?
Aww.
And I think their name is Apple.
Aww.
Apple the kid. Oh. So many notes to take. Forgot Wanderhome was so intense on the notes.
Well,
I know,
the
right?
notes thing is the one in the very beginning, you know.
It's true.
True.
We gotta take time to make the setting and everything.
Yeah. Okay. I think I know. I would like to make a confident kith.
Ooh, confident.
So if I recall properly, correct me if we didn't go with this one, but I've been taking 1,000 notes and not 100% certain on what we did decide and didn't decide on. Or did we go with the hunters and poachers being present?
Yes.
Yes, I think we did.
Okay, perfect. This kith is confident. They are one of these hunters. They're staying nearby to the monastery and trying to stay out of the way of the janitor or any passerby, any travelers staying at the monastery, trying to stay under the radar as much as possible, here hunting dragonflies. And they themselves are a Komodo dragon,
Ooh.
and their name is Dion.
Ooh, scary.
Ooh.
And one thing that Dion can always do is charge into a situation without understanding the risks.
Ooh.
That's good.
Overconfident, I see. I like all these characters so far.
Same.
So I am thinking of a ghostly spirit, so an invisible kith, very quiet weasel, living not in the monastery, I would think, perhaps just like roaming around the graveyard, and they can vanish. And can be found through use of tokens. And they have been somewhere the whole time. So it's like the kind of thing where I would imagine the entire time they're just watching, but you have to seek them to be able to see them.
Do they only show up at like a certain time of day?
Maybe around dawn. As the sun. Wait, is dawn the morning one?
Yes. Dawn is the morning one.
Okay. I would like the opposite of
Dusk.
The dusk. As the night begins, you can see them.
So then that's when the fireflies come out.
I love that.
Do we know their name?
I think they would have a nickname, but no one quite knows their real
True
name just yet. And the nickname could be Little Rascal.
Little Rascal.
I
That's
love
a very
that.
custodial.
Little Rascal.
Little Rascal. That's a very custodial like name. Oh, like don't mind the little rascal out there.
Don't mind Little Rascal. He couldn't hurt a fly.
Oh, goodness
I love
gracious.
that.
Aw.
We only have a couple more questions to ask
Yeah.
ourselves
Yeah. What are the
before
questions?
play begins. Final 4 questions. The first, what sort of place did we just travel from?
I think that we came from a. Where would we have picked up? This is a bit important question, I think. Is this Basil's first time traveling somewhere else with us? Did we just come from where we met Basil?
We can absolutely come from where we just met Basil.
Yeah.
So where would we have just met Basil then?
I think you met Basil in a tavern. They were sitting in the corner trying to describe every single glass that they could find. It was one where no 2 cups are alike. Each one is different. And they were trying to find the right word. He was trying to find the right word. He came up to you guys, sort of asked for, can you help me find a synonym? Can you help me find this? Found out that you were a little group traveling together and asked to join you on the expedition to help him find a muse.
Okay. Wonderful.
My heart.
So we're coming from a tavern.
Yes.
That's fun.
The next question is then, do we feel our journey has been long?
To get here, I feel like it should be.
I feel like
This is
it's
a
been a
remote
long time.
place.
We
Yeah.
left Warthaven when it was chill still.
Yeah.
And now it's
It was
swarming.
It was snow blanket. We said goodbye to Eden and then ran into Basil in a tavern. And now, almost a full year gone by, it's swarming. So the journey's been long.
Journey's been very long indeed.
Is there somewhere we hope to go?
For me, I think it's about the journey rather than the destination. The destination isn't really a place, so I hope to go anywhere.
Soul likes you a lot. We have the exact same mindset. Soul just kind of takes people places, but not the destination doesn't quite matter.
I think Novak is... The question is there a place that we want to go?
Yeah.
I think Novak is dreaming day after day of a nice, relaxing rocking chair to sit down in for at least a couple of days, getting off these tired feet.
As for Ruby Sue, at this point, she is just enjoying being around people. The silence can be quite deafening and saddening. So to have people around her that she can always talk to, and just she knows that she's truly cared for here. So she just wants to travel, and she just hopes that wherever everyone goes, that she feels safe and cared for.
Yeah.
Mhm. I think for Angelo, there's clear like destinations in mind in terms of like there's packages and letters that I need to deliver and such, but I feel like in their heart, the place that they really hope to go at some point when everything is all done is that they would want to go back home. You know, they want to go back home to their family and let them like see how much that they've grown on this journey.
We have one more question to ask ourselves, and also to name the monastery, but first and foremost, we have to ask ourselves quietly in our own heads, where is my home?
Where's your home, listener?
Don't message us your home.
You can email us at.
Please don't give us your address.
Why are you crying?
I've already cried 3 times.
Do you want to? Let's play a fun game. Tell us the first 4 letters of your credit card. Then tell us the second 4 letters of your credit card.
All right.
The only thing we need to do now is give our monastery a name. Luke, are you okay?
I'm
You got
fine.
fucking
Sorry.
sad.
Wanderhome has a very profound effect on me.
I might have like pulled you back to reality for a second.
A name? How are monasteries named? My brain said Crake Hollow.
Ooh.
And I don't know what that is.
Ooh.
Crake Hollow. I love that.
Mine.
Crake.
Ooh.
Yeah. However you want to spell it.
I was just gonna think something simple like sanctuary.
It's just sanctuary.
I like
But
that.
yeah, like sanctuary was like the first word that popped up in my head too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's
Y'all
just
got-
called Sanctuary.
Maybe a sanctuary. Y'all got
Craig
Somehow
fun
my
names.
brain
sanctuary.
I was thinking something along the lines of like Whistleburough or something.
Whistleburough. What if it's Whistleburough Sanctuary?
Yo.
Cute as hell. I think that fits. That sounds like a quiet name. That sounds like a quiet place.
Yeah, let's go with that. I like
That's how you
Whistleburough
spell burrow.
Sanctuary.
There we go.
What a cute little place.
I'm gonna cry 9 times when we play this.
No.
You can't cry. It's my birthday.
No crying allowed.
All right. So, if that's everything set up, all our questions are answered, why don't we start playing?
Yay!
May I? The moss, damp and fresh, squelches under our feet as we approach the Whistleburough Sanctuary Monastery. The air is hot, and we can see little dots from where the insects ran up the paths. A stained glass window depicting the forging of a glorious sword sits tall, casting multicolored light on the path and across all of our fur. The first thing we notice, though, as we approach the monastery is despite how many bugs are roaming the area and despite how bright it is and hot it is at this time of day, it is surprisingly quiet. I think there's a little graveyard out in the back with these rocks covered in moss, some of them cleaned, where some janitor must have already gone there. Some have already overgrown just in the time that they've been gone. I think that there is this big building with tomes and stained glass windows and all of these looks, and I think that the heat from the outside is still not matched by how hot it would be when we actually enter the monastery.
I think an interesting thought may be because yes, it's like the atmosphere around this building itself quenches every sound. It's like the moss absorbs any sound that could come from anything. Our footsteps are nothing in this expansive space. And it's so vast that the slightest creak of the front doors as we enter seems to echo.
I feel so out of place.
I feel like we shouldn't be talking.
Maybe you're right.
Do you think there's rules?
If there's rules, I wouldn't be able to read them.
Surely if there were rules, they'd be posted up somewhere to read. And Novak will brush in, clicking the cane loudly against the ground, and
So
looking
loud.
around.
My ears.
Soul being the last one to enter and close the door behind all of us once everyone's inside and safe, will
Doom.
reach up and remove the top of their lantern that they carry with them to let Beetle climb out and scurry up to the top of their hat to look around. I believe at this point it has definitely reached evening, and around this time Beetle will want to get out and stretch his wings a bit.
We're approaching twilight hours.
Yes.
Do you think anybody lives here?
Well, surely someone must live here. It's a well-tended to place. It's on the map, after all, and I'll pull out my massive map, that paper map that's many places marked off, and I'll say, surely someone lives here and takes care of the monastery itself. Hello? Is anyone here?
We followed the right directions, right? My guidebook says that when you have a map, south is on the top and north is on the oh no.
Wait, did you read the map incorrectly?
I think the
No, my
compass is
book
supposed to
says
be on this side of the map,
Oh,
not
we are the
here.
wrong. This is.
This is Whistleburough. Is
I don't
it?
think so.
Whistleburough. The map's smudged where the name is written. I can't actually. Are we lost now? Is this an abandoned? This has gotten much scarier.
At the back of the entrance of this starting room, a door opens, and walking in wearing these custodial overalls is. Did we actually say what?
None of us described a custodian.
Is-
None of us
No,
actually
none of
described
the custodian is a
This is up to
mystery.
you. You
okay,
can give us an answer.
Coming into the room is this tall-ish cat.
Mm.
They're wearing this, it's kind of like a baseball cap sort of thing, and their ears are just kind of poking out to the sides. The hat's just a little bit too big where it can't quite sit comfortably on her head. And she kind of bursts into the room, presumably from Novak yelling out into the space, and she pauses and looks at all of you, and she says, "Welcome. I heard a bit of a commotion. Is everything all right?"
Please don't hurt me. I'm still very young.
That's
I think
very
maybe she
impolite.
was.
I'm so sorry about her. She's
I don't think we were intending for that.
no.
Oh.
Ruby, this is a safe. It's called a sanctuary. It's a monastery. It's a place of safety.
Yes. It's nice to meet you all. My name is. Someone else give her a name.
My brain has no names. Only Catstodian.
Seeker.
Catstodian.
Seeker.
Oh, I like that.
Seeker.
My name is Seeker. I work here at the Whistleburough Sanctuary. Welcome, everyone. I'm so sorry. With the commotion happening earlier, I thought there was more panic happening. Everyone's okay,
Oh.
right?
Oh yes.
My feet are a bit worn out, but other than that, I can't really complain. It's such a pleasure to meet you. I'm Novak Babarachi. We've been traveling for some time in search of this place.
I'm glad to see you found it. Please come inside. We do have some seats. I hope you don't mind sharing some space. We do have some other visitors as well here.
All right, that's no problem at all.
No worries.
The more visitors, the better.
Thank you for your hospitality.
Oh, yes, of course. This is a sanctuary, of course. And she will open the inner door to reveal, I imagine it'd be kind of like a lounge, like living space. Like there's, but of course, like the scrolls cover all the walls inside of here. Another type of moss in this case of like, it kind of takes in a bunch of noise as we enter this inner room. And I imagine there would be, maybe there's some like, no one visible, but maybe some like walking around, like the sound of footsteps moving through the space. Not yet known, but very present in the area.
Are there any rules about noise? Because I make a lot of noise when I move around. Because I'm a Joey and I have to jump a lot.
Oh, there aren't any set in stone rules, I would say. Definitely, we have had people in the past who had a personal preference of quiet, but in those cases they would read in their rooms. But if you must hop, then you are more than welcome to.
You say read in our rooms. I have to ask, what kind of literature options do you have here at the monastery?
Yes.
Because I'm really hoping to expand some of my knowledge, and well, I have this book here, and I haven't been able to find anything about the author, and maybe you'd be able to help me.
Okay. Well, for what we offer here is a great sum of options. History, religious text. We have had people pass through in the past who have used this space as muses for their writing before, who have been kind enough to offer us copies of their works to put on our shelves. So we do have a rich abundance of fiction, nonfiction, maybe life tales, a bit autobiographies. I forgot the word for a second.
What have you of poetry?
Poetry. Without saying another word, she turns and starts walking down one of the many aisles of scrolls. And there's a moment of silence before there's a bit of a... And then she comes back out around the corner, and in her hand she's holding... It's an array. It's scrolls. There's a couple of bindless stacks of paper kept together by metal rings. There's properly binded books, and she'll bring out this small handful, and she said, well, I grabbed what I could of each category, like sonnets, haikus. There's many different types back there. We had one item... Sorry?
So I hate to barge in, and it sounds like the selection here is quite great, but any more classical work, epic poetics of the sort, things from before the war, or of more high standards. I apologize, Basil, not to say that these are not high standards of work, just that I'm famished for something a bit more old school.
I see. I believe we do have some, but the purposes of this place during the war times was not of keeping scrolls and literature as it has become now. But by all means, I believe there should be... And she kind of looks behind her. I believe there would be a few shelves, though it has been a while since I've been requested those items.
Worry not, I'm sure we'll be here for days upon days. We'll search the place from toe to tip.
Wonderful. And so she kind of like unceremoniously like gives you, Basil, the few items that she held. Her arms, she's quite a much larger creature than yourself, so the items that she was holding somewhat comfortably in her arms seems to start to very quickly overfill yours. And
Seeker, Miss Seeker, I'm so sorry. I don't think that I'm able to... Oh my goodness, I apologize.
Oh my goodness,
Here,
are you
well-
okay?
oh
Yes,
dear.
I just didn't mean to drop
Here,
those. Oh my goodness,
let me help
the
you.
pages
Let me help
must
you
be
pick up some of those
ancient.
books.
Yeah, she'll lean down as well
Thank
and
you.
start picking up some of the larger scrolls that she had brought out, and she will kind of pick them up and put her in her arms, and she'll say, "These, if you're interested, were on the far back wall. I'll go return these. I'm so sorry. I'm usually a better host than this. I'm just about to start making my rounds of the sanctuary."
I'm sure you have a busy day before you. We're just humble travelers. Leave us and we shall find things for ourselves. The place is not so complicated as to require your full attention, though. We thank you for it.
I do have a bit of a quick question.
Yes.
I'm a bit of a painter. Would you be all right if I took the liberty of, maybe painting the monastery and maybe even painting some of the stained glass?
Oh, yes. By all means, we've had some painters, though of course they are not able to give us copies of their large paintings. But yes, by all means.
I would be perfectly fine with donating these.
If you would, we would be terribly grateful here. Thank you. She kind of looks to all of you. She'll look over to Ruby Sue, who she had scared earlier, and she'll give a little nod and a smile, and she'll start making her way back towards the back of the building, which kind of tells you how quickly she must have run across. It's a fairly large room, this area, and she'll start heading back.
Ruby, maybe if you're very polite and help clean up the Scriptorium, maybe you can get a little treat or something tonight.
But what if this place is haunted? What if I sweep the floor and then all of a sudden something comes out of it and it says boo?
Oh, what a marvel that would be. Can you imagine the new experiences?
I don't know if that would be kind of a marvel at all.
Something cold, unfamiliar to all of us, allowing ourselves to encounter it, to immerse ourselves in it. Do you see the beauty?
Ruby, Sue, I'm sure there's no ghosts or anything of the sort supernatural. Just because you're at a monastery, a sanctuary with a graveyard doesn't mean there's ghosts around. This is a place of respect and rest, not haunting.
I don't go to the graveyard anymore because of the ghosts.
What was that? Who said that?
I take one step in the graveyard grounds and then like, boo!
Is this Apple?
Yeah.
On the other side of one of the shelves, there's a loud noise as Soul is just like kind of like spaced out during the initial conversation and is just like looking at everything now.
The ghosts, you say?
Oh, there's ghosts everywhere. I went there once and you have a letter. And I point at
Angelo.
Angelo.
Oh, I do have a letter. Who might you be?
Oh, my name's Apple. I'm named that because I ate an apple. What's the letter for?
Well, the letter is supposed to be made for a delivery, you see. I'm a moth tender, so I make my rounds and deliver letters and packages to people all across the land.
You're so cool. When I grow up, I'm going to be a moth tender moth. That's so cool. But don't go to the graveyard, okay? Because I went to the graveyard once and I saw this rabbit and it smiled and I didn't like the way it smiled, so now I can't go back anymore. I tried to ask somebody, can you go make sure there's no rabbit? But they didn't go either because they said it was too scary and then they left, so I think maybe now they're dead.
Hey, Apple, what kind of apple did you eat?
It was green.
I think Novak said that the green apple is called, I think, Granny
Smith, dear. And seeming to have appeared out of nowhere is a ram wearing a very large shawl over her older form as she just kind of stands there holding her cane, kind of looking at all of you.
Are the two of you, and Novak points between Apple and this ram who has entered the scene, and is this one your little...
Oh dearie, no. Apple's been here long before I showed up here.
I live here. You're so cool, I say to Ruby Sue. You're so smart and you know so many things.
Well, yeah, that's why I'm with them, because they're a bunch of smart people, and I just want to learn so much.
I have a question.
What?
And I'm going to point up to one of the stained glass murals, and it's going to be, somebody's going to be holding a red apple. And I'm going to say, why is that the wrong color?
So there's only one red apple, so there's like an apple, one of each, every color. There's like a red apple, and there's a green apple, and there's a purple apple, and there's an orange apple, and then there's a yellow apple, and then there's a pink apple. Yes? Did
I don't want to intrude on this wonderful imaginative time, but there aren't any purple apples. The rest of that, factual and correct, but no purple apples, actually. I'm sorry. I'm quite sorry, Ruby and Apple.
However, I did see a pink apple before my life.
Pink apples are quite common, though. That is true.
That's so cool. Well, anyway, I have stuff to do. I have a picture book to read. Oh,
why don't
what is
you
it?
Take Ruby Sue and show her around?
Really? Okay, I have so much to show you, but I'm not going to show you the graveyard because it's too scary.
Of course. Do you want us to look at the graveyard for that rabbit that you had spoken of?
Well, nobody I've asked to go look at the rabbit has come back and said anything, so, I don't know if that's a good idea, because I think they all died. But if you do, and you do find it and you're not dead, you can come tell me, but I don't think you should do that. Anyway, Ruby Sue, do you want to come see all the books?
Are you a scaredy cat, Apple?
No, I'm a kid.
Because I know that I was scared earlier, but I'm brave, and if they're going to check the ghosts out, I can go, because I'm a brave girl.
You're the coolest person I've ever met. And Apple is going to run in the other direction.
The ram just sort of watched everything happen there, and she'll look towards you all again and say, Apple's a sweet young thing, but I will say, I've seen winks of the little rabbit that she's talking about.
So you mean the rabbit is real?
Well,
And you didn't tell Apple?
well, it's more just, we tried talking her out of it, didn't believe us, like she said, but the big thing is that no one hasn't no one's disappeared from it. I don't think Apple understands the fact that people will come and go from this place quite yet.
Yes. Well, thank you for filling us in then.
Though I will warn you, it's a bit mischievous is all I'm gonna say. Nothing dangerous, just, like a...
The spirits are mischievous?
Well, sometimes. I haven't been here long myself, but it's definitely... It depends, is what I'll say.
Oh,
To dance
well.
in a spirit's nightly song.
We'll be careful when we go take a look.
yes. If we're out at the graveyard, I'm sure we'll all take our time and be very careful and not get caught up in any spiritual song. Thank you very much. I didn't get your name.
Oh, she'll reach her hand out. It's not even like reaching out as like a handshake. It's just kind of like the whole thing they do, like the princess, like take the hand and kiss it kind of thing. Like, the name's Ophelia.
Well, Ophelia, Novak Beberaci, it's a pleasure to meet you, yada yada. I'm sure we'll get to know each other. I at least plan to stay for a fair stay, so it's pleasure.
She'll nod and then without just kind of give a nod to everybody else and then she'll walk away.
We hope to see you again.
And she'll kind of wave over her shoulder. Continue off.
Do you think that she is a ghost by chance?
What would make you say that?
Or the or Apple, because she said that Apple was here before she got here, and now I'm concerned that Ruby Sue is off playing with a ghost child.
Are you saying you might believe in all them ghost
How
stories?
do we know what a ghost looks like?
I wouldn't. No, Angelo, foolishness. No, of course I would never believe
Stoic as you?
in ghost stories.
Maybe it's something with the building.
Surely it's something to do with the building. The whole atmosphere of everything just sends us into these kind of thoughts. That's why we came here. It is, isn't it? Right.
But is there not a gentle beauty in the songs the dead sing? If the people around us are ghosts indeed, they would have lived lives long before us. The stories they have to tell.
I too am a fan of history, Basil.
You do have a point there. I have to admire your words.
I was actually lying earlier. I'm not brave. I'm a bit scared.
It's all right. We're all a little scared every now and then. We can't be brave all the time.
Yeah, this wouldn't make sense. I'd like to know where we can get some food, actually.
Yes, food and a place to sit down would be delicious.
Yes, I wonder what they eat here.
Well, I mean, there's those, like, I guess that's a chair. That thing over there could work as a chair.
That's a drum.
It moves. This is weird. Like, starts, like, shaking it back and forth. Soul doesn't know what a rocking chair is.
A
Just like-
rocking chair.
Why is it moving?
Isn't that what you've been looking for this whole time, Novak?
I haven't seen a rocking chair since I left so many years.
I mean, you talk about it all the time.
Would one of you mind helping me with this? We could bring it to somewhere, maybe the out front, just so I can sit in the evening air.
Sure.
And
I can carry it.
for a while.
I imagine it's like one of the ones with like the long back with like all like the like there's no like unless you know how to pick it up, you can't pick it up. So Soul's trying his best. They're not getting it though.
Ruby Sue tries to carry it with you, but it actually ends up she ends up just hanging on it as you carry it. Because, like, she does not know that she is not helping.
Like 100%.
So cute.
100%. Like they've gotten it off the ground. They're not carrying it correctly, and they're walking backwards. And they're like, hold the door open.
Wonderful.
Just a little bit to the left.
Wait, which way is left? I
Do you
I
need
can't
someone
put the
to hold
chair
it up
down to
from the
make the
bottom?
L's.
My left,
Angelo's
my
left.
left.
Angelo's left. Careful, careful.
Ah!
Again, I can't
Ow!
make the L shape with your hand. I need to see it.
Well, now we gotta go right.
Oh, okay.
My,
gotta go
my
right.
head
Okay,
just
okay.
You're all
my
doing
head
you're all doing such a great job.
Oh,
my head
Ruby, are you
just hit
okay?
the door.
Almost there.
Oh.
Almost there.
Oh,
careful,
Ruby, I
careful.
can-
Right there, right
Okay,
there,
okay,
and we're done.
okay.
Great.
Oh.
Perfect.
Oh.
I have a goose banana.
Oh. So
at
it
the
reaches down and like
fireflies.
moves some of your fur to the side, like,
Oh,
I think,
goodness.
Oh, dear.
Oh, you definitely hit, okay. Let me,
Listen to Basil. Listen to Basil.
Something is coming to me. Something is coming to me. And I'm going to look out at the fireflies, and I'm going to look at the way they illuminate this mossy, hot terrain, and I'm going to say, I'm missing something. I'm missing something here. It's the mossy path resembles skies above,
Yes.
where fireflies shine and warm our chilly fur. Just as the tides approach the moons they love, we too are drawn to travel near and... How do I finish it?
What about near and far?
Near and far. Perfect. And I wonder if this would count on any of our parts as taking a moment to
Yes.
bask in the grandeur of the world.
100%.
Yes.
Yes.
That's a token.
Bask in the silence and the illumination of the fireflies.
Yeah. That's a
Soul
token
just sits on the
for-
ground. Their coat's already
Basil.
muddy enough, they just sit on the floor.
Novak will sit comfortably, creaky bones into the rocking chair, and will rock gently, and just kind of look at those fireflies and the poem that Basil just kind of recited, echoing around in his head as he watches it gently. And you can't see the stars, but you can see these beautiful fireflies on this night.
I think Angelo is like just starting to paint the monastery itself with the fireflies. A nice picturesque view.
Did you know that the lights from the fireflies apparently come from the god?
Oh,
And I think the god's name is Lemonlorf.
Lemonlore.
Lemonlove.
I think I might have heard that name before.
I think I've heard that.
It's
as well.
very vague. I don't remember it quite well.
Where did you
The
learn that,
construction
Ruby
of it is beautiful. The alliteration, the way it rolls off the tongue.
Sue?
Lemonlore.
Ruby Sue, where did you learn that?
I don't remember.
Well,
Okay.
maybe you'll remember where you heard it eventually. Maybe it'll come back to you.
And if it doesn't,
I
it does.
hope so.
Seems like a place that's good for lost things.
I hope so.
I think in like the short distance, maybe just around the back, there's a very quiet, like subtle sweeping sound. It's periodic, it's not constant, but it's
Like the only sounds.
it's the
breaking
only
the
sound,
silence.
yeah.
Well, I think that's a fun place to leave that night.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
I imagine at some point we went back inside and went traveling maybe a bit inside to find where the rooms were.
What do you think
Yeah.
the sleeping quarters are like here?
I think it's sort of like this. You've got it's sort of like on the back side of the monastery, you know, where like the stained glass is on one end, but you have like the main rooms and stuff on the other side.
Yes.
Side. So you go down like a little bit of steps into sort of like a lower section of it. And it's just like a hallway that kind of like squares off to the left and then squares off again to come back. So you've got two lower staircases that kind of go along in like a weird like half square. I'm doing a terrible job at this, but like just go hallway down, left, right, so it
Yeah.
comes back into the main
Yeah.
lobby. So it's just
Yeah.
like a weird continuous hallway that comes back to where
Yeah.
you started.
Yeah.
And on each side there's like a door with like small quarters. There might be like a small like window. There's like a bookcase with a desk, and you've got like a nice like single bed.
Is this place constructed when the sanctuary was a genuine sanctuary, or was this like a little added on structure because they were using it as like a place to create weapons and
This
such?
might have been an addition later.
Do you think there are any signs then of what this place used to be for? Whether it's
Yeah.
just like an old stain on the floor that like some heavy machinery would have been placed on, a little groove, something like that.
There might be some like
whisper.
racks on the walls where
Yeah.
you would have hung weapons or
tools,
something,
hung
tools.
weapons. Yeah, that scent of just like soot clinging in the air. You can't clean it away.
Maybe some
Maybe like an old armor stand.
maybe like
Yeah.
some scrapes across the floor, like something like a large machine of some sort had to be moved at one point, and they didn't have the proper items to like protect the floor from that damage.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I imagine this monastery to be a very early rising place. With
Oh, yes.
dawn, I think would come awakening. I imagine that there probably aren't any curtains or anything like that, so the sun would probably bring all of us to awakening.
Yeah, and the stained glass also as well. They're in the rooms, so you've got like a little bit of color in there.
The walls could be filled with vines and mosses because it's like a I would imagine like the walls are constructed as almost like cobblestoney or
Yeah.
bricky.
Brick-like, yeah.
Brick-like.
Yeah.
Though we do not hear it ourselves, I think early in the morning, we hear some of the other people who are staying here. We hear like their movement outside of our doors, like as they go down one of the halls. And just very briefly, we hear the word breakfast
Ooh.
as they like continue down the hall and seem to kind of disappear from our earshot. That might be one of the things that wake us up in the morning of like, oh, food, yeah.
I think that first thing in the morning, before getting food, after rubbing the sleep from his eyes and doing a couple little morning stretches to wake his achy old bones, Novak will grab his cane, a new one. They probably only got it a couple weeks ago, and go for a quick walk through the graveyard here in the dawn's light, looking for familiar names, and currently unable to find them in like the 15-20 minutes that he looks through the small graveyard before going off to get breakfast as well.
I think maybe something you might notice is like there's definitely like the overgrowth at the very, very tops, and on one of them is like fresh like brush strokes of like cleaning, like not a deep clean where those markings would no longer be there, but like the beginning process of a deep clean on some of the gravestones is about to commence on them.
I might take a couple of like wildflowers that are nearby and lay them down at some of the unmarked graves that are here before heading back in.
I can't imagine Soul does much more than they will leave Beetle in their room, and I don't think they would really go for a walk. I think they would kind of just wander around, just look at the walls, look at the stained glass, but I think they would want to stay inside, especially it's just even this early in the morning, it's a bit too warm for their liking, so they'll stay inside instead.
When Angelo wakes up, I think they sort of get like enraptured by the light that's coming through the stained glass in the main cathedral, and they start just like painting what they see as well as they can, just because their vision is not so great, so things tend to come in a little blurry. But with the stained glass window, like the light and the color, despite everything being blurry, still shines through, and that's enough to like give a lot of inspiration for their artwork.
So do you think their art then is less of a literal replication of the drawings on the stained glass, but rather some other interpretation of the patterns of colors that you would see?
Oh yeah, it looks like a very colorful piece that doesn't necessarily look like the stained glass windows itself, but more like their own interpretation as to what these colors are, and it comes out in a very unique way.
I love that.
As soon as Ruby Sue wakes up, she's going to jump off of the bed and run downstairs and try to help. Because
with breakfast?
Yes.
I think that Basil is probably just in their study, and they will take a seat on the windowsill, and what they'll try to do is they will peer out of the stained glass windows, and they will see the sights behind, possibly of poachers in the distance, things like that, and they will try to imagine themselves as one of those people and try to write about how they would feel.
You see a big swarm of dragonflies rush into the actual graveyard itself, trying to avoid capture. You see a small net fling after them, but the person who is holding the net does not seem to venture on to the sanctuary's grounds itself.
I write from the perspective of the person holding the net.
I can't believe these fireflies are evading me again.
Ruby Sue welcomes you all.
You're here.
I love the idea that she's wearing like a little apron.
Yeah.
Because you know how the aprons often have the pouch in front, just like a kangaroo would?
So cute.
I see
Seeker is smiling super brightly next to Ruby Sue just because she's so enthusiastic about like helping out in the kitchen and stuff like that.
I see that you're all awake now. Welcome to the breakfast area.
So loud first thing in the morning.
Well, thank you,
good
Angelo.
morning.
Thank you so much. What happened?
Angela, why are you talking to yourself?
What?
What?
Oh, was I not in there? I thought we were all here. We all went to
You
breakfast.
said Angelo. Thank you so much, Angelo.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Oh, this is a creative writing exercise. I see what you're doing. You're speaking affirmations to yourself. Let me try one.
I'm still kind of asleep.
Basil,
I'm sorry.
you are going to have the most delicious breakfast. It will taste like the nectar of the gods. And as you eat, you will lock eyes with another denizen of the monastery, and they will see you for who you are. You will find the inspiration you have always sought, Basil, in this oatmeal. And I look down at the oatmeal and I'm like, it was worth a shot.
It's oatmeal with like blueberries and like maybe some cut up strawberries in
fruit.
there.
Oh, oatmeal with strawberries.
Seeker will look to you all as the adults of the group and will kindly let you know that she did not let Ruby Sue cut up any of the fruit.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Normally, she doesn't take kindly to people telling her not to do things. So I thank you for your patience with her.
Yeah, I would also be concerned of her safety with the whole knives.
Yes.
everything.
Well, she seemed to understand when I explained we don't let Apple cut any of the fruit either, just for safety reasons. Yeah.
Understandable.
Hyperactive. I'm sure Ruby's much more level-headed than Apple is, but that's neither here nor there. Ruby, what did you prepare for us this morning?
I prepared with Apple and Seeker a myriad of breakfasts.
Great word.
Good word.
Amazing
Thank you
word,
so
right?
much. We have some oatmeal with fruits, some cereal with milk, but you can also use orange juice if you want, because apparently some people like that.
I do love
And then I
those.
point at Apple.
It's very good.
I love
Very
it so
good. You should
much.
Try it. It's good taste.
Well, I don't think I'll be having that.
And
It really spices things up.
we also prepared some very delicious bread with butter.
Oh.
Ooh.
Did you butter the bread?
No, you're supposed to put the butter in it because
Oh.
I think that they said that too much butter is not good for you. Like, I initially put too much butter on mine, and then Seeker was like, first of all, that's very expensive, and second of all, that's very not healthy.
I don't know about it not being healthy.
But
She has a point.
But I did say it was a bit too much butter. It doesn't really help if you cut and then place like a giant piece.
To butter it yourself is to create your own interpretation. In some ways, the toast is life, and we are the butter. We must butter our own bread, for if it is buttered with us, we will never experience joy.
That's a fun way to talk about the daily affirmations.
Truer words were never spoken.
Seeker goes, oh, speaking of toast, and on the back wall of this little kitchen area, like there's no like separate seating. There's like an island in the middle where you would suppose more people would be here to make food, but it's just Seeker as the other patrons are sitting in their spots and eating their various goods. On the back wall, it doesn't quite look like an oven you would see for food. It's much too large, much too industrial. It's very much planted into the wall, so it wouldn't really be able to be moved anyway.
Yeah.
But you can see Seeker just very carefully stoking a fire to make sure it doesn't get too hot. And on this wooden paddle that she has put water on, she puts some bread and then she puts it into the top.
Now, what's the meaning of having a forge of some sort in a sanctuary, a monastery like this? It seems a bit overkill to make toast and oatmeal in the mornings.
Well, maybe there's a reason.
Well, that's why I'm asking. I'm a student of the world.
Well, it's mostly just making use of what we have here. She kind of gestures to the scrapes on, like, where the gouges in the ground were much more subtle in other parts. This seems to have been a main area of large, heavy machinery that have since been dispersed somewhere else. And she calmly explains, well, you see, quite a bit ago when the sanctuary was used for other means, they made weapons and swords.
I see.
While we were able to move many items to give this place a new purpose, she gestures over her shoulder to the large forge. Again, very much knelt into the wall. We very well couldn't remove that. But we've made good use for it now. After a few burnt utensils, we figured out how to put it to better use.
And what of that sword, the one on the wall?
Oh, that's funnily enough, a bit of a story for the sanctuary itself. One I was actually told myself when I started working here full time. She kind of looks over to Apple and Ruby Sue. How much attention are they giving to this conversation right now?
They love Ruby Sue loves stories, so she is definitely.
What about Apple?
Apple is focused on the food and only the food.
Got it.
So Ruby Sue's paying attention.
Okay.
Interestingly enough, Apple isn't actually like eating the food, but is just kind of like stirring it with one finger.
Oh. Perhaps Seeker, such a story could wait for a later hour, not to sour the day with tales of.
No, yes, of course. But by all means,
But I
can
wanna hear it.
answer your queries. She'll look back over to Basil and smile before reaching behind her, tightening her apron a bit, and going back to making some more food. When Ophelia asks for a bit more toast with her cereal, and she'll go back to doing her usual work. Soul's
I'm gonna
chowing
start
down on
sweeping the
some fruit oatmeal, though, like not even hasn't said a word this entire conversation, just munching down on that stuff.
Angela's taking their time, savoring each bite of the oatmeal and fruit.
Their hands are in the bowl, I will admit.
Oh my goodness.
They're having a good time. They're very hungry.
I feel like we would also see, because this is when people are getting served, this black swan woman come and get a bowl and then just leave with it, wandering to some other part of the monastery to have it.
Yeah, Seeker doesn't even really say anything when the black swan comes in. She just gives us a kind smile, a slight nod, and lets her be on her way.
She left as soon as she arrived.
Even though she has told Apple to please stay in... what is Apple's pronouns again? Because I think I messed them up earlier.
I feel like Apple would probably use all pronouns. That's like
Understood.
the vibe that I get from this child.
So yeah,
Just a little scamp.
got it. So but Seeker has told Apple a couple of times to please remain in their seat. She doesn't say anything to this black swan.
Yes, maybe a story such that Seeker was about to tell is best when there's no little ears around. At least for now.
I can start cleaning the floors. Apple, stop making a mess.
Apple is not hearing it.
Seeker sees it's not just that it's on the floor, it is also covering Apple's face. She'll grab one of the rags from the top of the island and walk over, lick it, like palm and thumb, and like start rubbing it on Apple's face to get them all cleaned up.
Seeker, I have a question.
Yes. Oh, Apple,
This
stop
morning
squirming.
when I was when I was looking out past the graveyard, I saw these dragonflies zipping by, and I saw these people with nets hunting them down. It's Not a problem, I suppose. I mean, the pathos in their eyes was incredible, but I didn't expect to see something so involved, so close to such a quiet monastery. Do they have your permission to be here?
They have permission to be within the forest, within the woods, but we have an understanding that they are not allowed to step foot on the premises, not while they're on their current travels, but they're welcome.
Well, that might be a bit of a
afterwards.
problem then, because, well, I saw some netting one of the dragonflies right in the graveyard.
You saw them in the graveyard?
Well, they tossed the net into the graveyard.
Oh dear.
Unfortunately, some of them take the words "do not set foot" on the sanctuary lands, and they'll
Toe the line.
They're breaking the rules.
more than ow,
Daring
Apple,
rebels.
don't bite me.
Oh,
Well, I wasn't biting the food because I was stirring it.
Hey, Angelo, how are you liking the food?
I absolutely love the food. Thank you so much.
You need to have some more. Do you want some more orange juice with that cereal?
I do think Basil would be like, well, if they're following a loophole and they're some kind of daring rebels who don't respect the rules, a little bit of danger in their eyes, do you think we ought to say something to them? You know, go up to them and go, "You're not supposed to do that. You're so bad." And they'll go, "You can't tell me what to do." And then we stare into one another's
But
eyes.
if they're breaking the rules in one arena, Basil, don't you worry that they might not take kindly to someone telling them off?
What they're doing is horrible.
Of course, they would say, "That's not allowed. I do what I want."
Seeker will set down a fresh platter of toasted bread, and she'll say, "Oh, you don't have to worry too much about that. I have on a couple of occasions, gone out there and had a few words with them, but I do have quite a bit of repairs to do today."
Well, Basil seems to be romanticizing the situation grossly, so I'm sure that he can take care of it.
Oh, yes, I would absolutely be willing to help. Would anyone like to keep me company? I'll enter and I will say, "You must be stopped." And they will say, "Who do you think you are?" And I will look into their eyes and they will say, "Oh, you can't tell me anything, but there's something about that charm, something about your verbioseness that makes me want to listen to you." And I will say,
Soul
Are
raises
people-
their hand and just like, "I would like to see how this goes, yes."
Well, I'll go along with you if you don't mind.
Thank you, I do appreciate it. Just in case.
I can also go,
just in
and
case.
I'll yell at them
Oh, no,
and say,
Ruby.
"You've been very, very bad."
Young little Ruby Sue, I don't think it's the best idea for you to be getting involved with poachers here outside of anywhere that people care about. It may be best to just stay inside until this is dealt with.
Why can I not do big people things?
Well, I'm sure Apple would love to have someone to play with today, wouldn't you, Apple?
Oh, yeah, I want to play because I've never met anyone as cool as Ruby Sue before, and I want to learn everything.
Ruby,
Yes?
you don't have to play if you don't wish to. I still had some walking around in the graves to do this afternoon. You could accompany me if you'd like.
Oh, for sure. I can help you with your bad knee. Do
I would love that.
Okay.
I would appreciate it so much.
And maybe you can explain to me what the word sanctuary means.
Absolutely, I would gladly explain it.
I think that we would probably split off then, with Novak
Yeah.
and Ruby Sue heading out, and the rest of the group going to tell these poachers not to cast their nets on
Yes.
sanctuary grounds.
Oh yeah, after you guys
Stand there.
finished breakfast, Seeker came back in with the net. It's like it's really big, but with small holes in between to make sure whatever it catches breathes, but definitely to catch a large amount of whatever they are looking for, in this case fireflies.
Creatures.
Which one of those scenes do we want? Which one of those do we want to pull the thread on first?
Well, how soon do we want to cry? That's
Yeah,
the
how
real
soon do you want to
question.
cry?
We should do the poachers.
Let's do poacher
Okay.
scene.
Okay, fine.
You're right, Luke would be not in a state.
To do the poacher if he was in tears. That's
Now
true.
watch, there will be no tears. It's going to be a pretty cathartic, happy
There
scene.
won't- I'm not gonna cry. It's
Yeah.
gonna just
You're gonna
be
cry.
fine.
I imagine we are taking most of our directions from the very vague idea of where they might be camping out from Seeker, and then Basil's description of like what direction the net came from once
just
it was
off
given
into
to
the
us.
woods.
So we're kind of following those directions in that case.
All right. When I looked out the window earlier, I saw this this poacher with a net, and I think they sort of were heading in that direction. And well, if what Seeker says is true, we should be here. Let me just hold the map. Okay, south is up there, north is down there. So let's see. East is to our right, left, right. Oh,
Wait.
Upside down.
Wait,
You're
wait.
upside down
are
right
you
now.
sure about this? Because my book says that this is how you hold a map.
Which book is this again?
What books are you reading?
Oh, it's so fantastic. It's called Tips for a Fuller Life. Oh, it has this wonderful piece of advice for if you spill hot chocolate on yourself.
Tip.
Okay.
Oh, you just pour hot chocolate on everything else, then your clothes looks the same. There's no stains.
Really?
You have to try it.
Huh. It doesn't sound like bad advice.
I mean, if you want to
Well,
try it, I guess I won't stop you, but I'll...
I mean, if I
if
ever
we're
happen
unsure,
to-
let's just pick a direction and go for it.
Soul will...
Right?
They'll stick their finger in their mouth, pop it out, and point it up towards the sky, and
the sun.
feel the wind. To the sun. And feel the breeze, and wait a moment before they start, like, slowly spinning it, and then they will point off into a direction.
Yes. And the three of you trod off into the woods. The moment that you're outside of the grounds of the monastery, the buzzing of flies fills your ears. Thousands of small gnats are flying into your face. The thickness of the brush and the clouds, the mist of bugs in the swarming as you wander away. The silence of the monastery seemingly broken in an instant.
Oh, it's so loud. My ears.
But I could swear there aren't any more insects out here than there are over there. The noise is like sweet singing. Let me just... I need a moment. I need to capture this inspiration. And I'm standing there and I'm like trying to jot down.
For the poacher?
I know, but...
As Basil is standing there, Soul's tail just slowly lifts off the ground, and as like the bugs start to circle around underneath their tails, they just very quickly slap it back down on the ground and just try and take out as many as they can at once.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Be careful.
These things have gotten me sick before. I'm not taking a chance again.
The buzzing of bugs is so sweet for every creature I meet, but the insects below... Oh, I can't find it. I can't find the inspiration. Oh, darn it. I'm sure that once we're done this meeting, I'll have something completely different to write about.
Don't worry, I'm sure you will. It'll come to you.
Over the buzzing of the flies, a twig snaps on the ground behind you all.
Soul
was
spins
that?
and points in that direction.
Oh,
Standing there in dark green garb is a tall Komodo dragon, the one this morning who threw that net. They'll lick their lips, or at least their tongue will lash out quickly, forked from their mouth, and they'll say, "This is my hunting ground. What are you doing here?"
you there. We are here to tell you to stop.
Who are you to tell me what to do?
Oh, we haven't met before, but my name is Basil. And I'm going to do like a wave over my face.
Soul, are you sure this is gonna work? Should we have trusted Basil to do this?
We should probably explain. Hi.
Hello, hi, sir.
We're staying at the sanctuary down the hill.
In the monastery, yeah.
Is there a problem? Why are you here?
Well, our friend Basil here saw the net fly into the graveyard, and Seeker told us to get that stuff back to you and to
Oh,
give you a piece of her mind, because you're not supposed to be going into that space.
not
Shouldn't be
supposed to
doing
step
that now.
Not supposed to step foot on the monastery lands. Nothing but throwing nets in there.
Well, it's not exactly that simple. I mean, it's a loophole, certainly, but it's against the spirit of the rule. You understand, don't you?
Yeah, I understand that you've come out in the middle of the woods to give me a hard time for no good reason.
But We're just trying to get the net back to you, and just
Oh,
to
I
say,
appreciate you returning my net to me. Don't know what I'd do without it.
just to say to be more
Well-
careful next time, because Seeker seemed pretty upset.
Yes, we will give it back completely, but you need to agree not to, either set foot or net on this territory anymore.
Why? Is there any good reason? It's just graves.
These are the spirits of lost individuals from centuries probably to pass. These are taken over by a very small number of people, and the type of care that they put into them is immense, and their memories rely on this sanctification of this place.
They're dead. I'm sure they don't mind.
But there are ghosts.
So you're telling me to believe that I shouldn't go hunting around these parts because of ghosts? Basil was your name? You made it this
Basil,
far in the
this is-
world believing in ghosts?
Angela, this isn't going very well.
I know.
This is
I'm
much more
trying to
difficult
think
than
of
I
something.
envisioned it.
Hey, Dion! Are you
Oi,
causing any trouble there?
Shut the hell... Oh, my goodness. He turns over his shoulder. Hey, don't yell any names, okay? Just, there's people who I don't want to know my name around here.
What names, Dion?
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Now,
Ralph!
So Dion is your
Stop
name.
yelling my name.
Sir Dion there, I don't mean to intrude a lot, but,
Well, you are.
why exactly are you here doing this?
This is the prime time to catch dragonflies. This is one of their nesting grounds. I can make 800 scraparoons from a day's catch of dragonflies.
Well, like, there's more to it than just the scrap and everything. You must have an actual reason for, poaching the dragonflies, right?
Yes, Dion, I saw you this morning when I was looking out the window of the monastery, and I wondered what you must feel inside, and so I wrote a poem from your perspective. Would you like to read it? I'm sure that we can connect on this level. I'm sure that you'll understand.
I'll let you read it to me.
Okay, it goes. The dragonflies I hunt for love elude me. I seek to find adventure that has wooed me. But bugs I net on graves will never bring the beauty of my heart's true song I sing. Right?
It's nice, but I don't know if it 100% fits.
Oh.
It's not out of love.
Oh.
It's survival.
Oh.
I mean, that's exactly what these dragonflies are trying to do. They're trying to survive out there in the world. And you're coming in here and stealing that away from them. I don't think that's fair at all.
There's thousands of them. They can manage.
And there's thousands of us too, but that doesn't make that if we were in that boat, it wouldn't be fair for us now, would it? Put yourself in the perspective of the insects. The dragonflies. They're trying to live out there, they're trying to have families and such, and then you're coming in and just ripping that all away from them. I feel like, that might be something you can sympathize with. That might be why you're out here doing what you're doing in the first place. Everybody does something for a reason.
I'm sure the three of you are well-intentioned, but it's just to make ends meet. This is the only work I know how to do.
Oh, well, this may not be appealing to you, but have you ever come up to the monastery? They offer food for anyone who will need it, and
They wouldn't.
I know there's work to be done.
It's been too long. They wouldn't let me in.
Please.
They wouldn't.
I'm sure if you explained your situation to them and your reasons why you were doing this in the first place, I feel like the Seeker would be able to understand where you're coming from and even, give you a place to stay for whoever knows how long you might need it for,
I don't need handouts.
I think earlier Seeker said that, as long as you're not coming into the area to, hunt the dragonflies and such, you're welcome into the sanctuary.
Everybody's welcome.
Yeah.
I'll give it some thought. Now give me back my net.
I'm going to hand Dion the net, and I'm going to spend the token that I received from looking at the fireflies to ease someone's pain, if only for a moment. And I will say, I'm a wanderer too, and I understand the feeling that you don't really have a home, but the people I've met there so far seem to come from all over and have all kinds of stories. I don't think there's anything about you that wouldn't have them want you there. I just want you to know that, and I will give the net back to Dion.
He snatches the net and will nod and will say, in your poem, you need to talk more about the pursuit.
The pursuit. Thank you. I'm I'm always learning something new every day. And I'm going to pull out my little book and jot down pursuit in fancy script.
And Dion will nod ahead and then push very quietly back through some bushes. You see another tinier Komodo dragon, much thinner Komodo dragon standing there. And Dion will go, Ralph, when we're in the poaching area, you don't say my name. That's how we get thrown in jail or something.
But there's
Or
a lot of
fine.
Dions out there.
Yeah, but there's one Dion right here who's actually doing bad things. Listen, let's just go back to camp and think things over.
I mean, one thing said is true.
I'm going to turn to my group and go, that was at least a step towards success, right? Pursuit. I'd never thought about that before.
At least they're gonna rethink some things over. That's all we can ask for.
Angelo, you were amazing.
Oh,
I've never seen someone speak with so much conviction before.
Oh, I don't know about that. You're making me blush.
Sometime, not now, I know, but sometime when we're on the road, can you teach me something like that? I know I can write, but I would love to speak much more persuasively.
Certainly, I could definitely help you out with that.
Well, I guess we should head back and
I hope they're not worried.
like there's like no sight of the sanctuary specifically. Like we wandered quite a bit.
Yeah.
Soul's gonna stare, stick finger in mouth, point towards the sky again.
To the skies above.
The sky is above. And then after the twirl, we'll point down the hill again, roughly back to the door. It might take a couple of wrong turns, but they'll say, well, I guess good thing to let Seeker know that, we talked to them.
We did what we could.
Yeah. He will head off as well. Oh, and Angelo, you get a token because I've asked you to explain something to me and you've agreed to do it.
Yay! I got a token.
Make sure to use that to buy things, such as fun abilities.
Emotional experiences. I also don't know, I know that because we're going to have a scene in the graveyard, I wanted to remind people that we can also play locations as well as we can people. So if anybody wants to sort of act as the graveyard to provide any kind of environmental effects, that is something that people can do.
Does someone want to set the scene for the graveyard? I imagine it's the early morning or maybe after, like midday when...
Like
Brunchish.
Yeah.
The sun is almost in the center of the sky. It's not there yet, but it's getting close.
A nice 11:32.
around that, yeah. As usual within the sanctuary, the bugs seem to just not really entertain this space. Where you guys are where currently? Out back, in one of the rooms, or
We're going through the graveyard.
the graveyard? The graveyard is you looked at it earlier in the morning, Novak. It's
Yes.
it gives you enough space to walk comfortably in between the graves, like walking down the rows. It's not huge. It's just large enough to be comfortable, but you can note how small it is. In the far back, it looks like Seeker's doing like deep cleaning, starting deep cleaning on one of the graves at the far back, where the moss has grown much larger, and it seems to be still fairly quiet.
Okay. So in that case, Novak and Rubisu are walking along the moss. Novak will be taking careful steps so as not to walk over any grave or anything particularly, being very respectful, stopping at each one to read the name or anything inscribed thereupon. And he'll say to Ruby, who he is holding hands with, I presume, young Ruby Sue, have you spent much time in places like this?
You mean in sanctuaries?
Well, sanctuaries too, but I was speaking more of graveyards.
I've been to once,
Mm-hmm.
but other than that,
Well, just be careful not to step over anyone's graves or onto the area directly in front of the headstone. It's disrespectful. And if you see anyone's grave that's a bit grimy, I'm sure the custodian won't mind you brushing it off and leaving a flower or two.
Why can we not do that? And why are there flowers?
Well, the flowers are just a token of respect for those who are no longer with us, and stepping over the grave is merely disrespectful to their memory, their presence here. They're buried under there, and though they might not live, their physical presence is still something to be respected.
Are you looking for anyone special?
I'm looking for someone quite special, Ruby Sue. I'd heard through the grapevine back at the start of the year that a person quite dear to me had passed away. Someone I used to work with. They gave me that scarf that I wore in the winters or whenever there's a chill in the air. They used to work in the classics department at the school I taught at. They passed away just recently. And so I was wondering if we could find them here in this place. I first learnt about this sanctuary from them, so that was my supposition, though I've not seen their name written upon any of these stones yet, so we might be out of luck.
Maybe I can help you. What was their name?
Their name was Button Humblebear. Maybe a professor at the start, but I doubt they'd put that on their headstone.
Button Humblebear?
Yes, Button Humblebear.
Okay, I can't completely read yet, but I'll try to look for the letter B, because I think the first letter to that name is B.
You're very correct.
I think as Novak and Ruby Sue are investigating the gravestones and like just looking at all the different names, maybe dusting off a little bit of the moss from them to clean them up a little bit, you probably see at the corner of your eyes there's a very finely dressed black swan woman. She's got like a parasol over her head. She's wearing like dark navy blue clothing, like a dress and such. She's just sort of like hovering around the edge of the grave, just sort of like not looking at any tombstone in particular, but just sort of like slowly walking along the edge and just like giving the entire place some sort of a somber look.
Young Ruby, do you see our friend over there, the swan walking around all by her lonesome?
Yes?
I think that she might benefit from a bit of your energy and optimism. Would you mind going and not cheer her up, but at least spend some time in her company? I can handle walking for a few minutes alone, and you can come find me when that's over.
Okay. And I'm going to hop on over, and I'm going to slowly like tug on this person's dress. Hello, my name is Ruby Sue. You look sad.
Oh, hello there, dear. Ruby Sue. It's nice to meet you. I do apologize that I may not look as chipper as you, but I have my reasons for being around here, and I've just been tending to things by my lonesome, so unfortunately, if I could just be let be for a little bit, that would be most excellent.
I can sit here in silence. I can be quiet.
If you're willing to keep me company and such, then I wouldn't mind that, as long as you're just taking in the silence as I am.
Okay, just give me a second. I'm going to hop on over and grab like some flowers from the ground, not like from another grave, but sort of something that is around
from
the
a little
area.
bush nearby.
Oh yeah, there's like
bush.
bushes kind of in the corners of this little graveyard of
What
different.
color are they?
It seems to be a mixture of like purples and blues. There is there's a couple of bushes that are yellows, but the bushes are fairly smaller. A little glimmer of brightness in the otherwise cool colors.
So I'm going to like grab a couple of those, perhaps like some purple flowers, grab some of like white I think they're called baby's breath. And I'm going to like smell it with my noser, and I'm going to hop on back over to this person, and I'm going to look at at the grave that they're looking at, and I'm going to be like, "This is for you. I'm just gonna sit over here and accompany," and I don't know her name or this person's name, so I'm just like pointing at them.
Oh, thank you so much, dear. You may call me B.
That's a beautiful name.
Thank you so much. You came here with your friends, right?
Yes,
How long have you all been traveling together?
quite a long time. I think it has been like 2 very cold times. I don't remember. My memory is quite bad, but it has been a very, very long time.
Well, it seems that you and your friends care for each other quite a lot.
Yes, absolutely. I have nowhere else to go.
Well, let me give you some advice from one to another. Keep your friends and loved ones as close as you can. Make sure that they feel loved as they love you.
Are you lost too?
You could say that. Then she sort of like stares at like the white petals of the flower. You see, I wasn't always by myself. I knew somebody a long time ago. And, you know, we used to spend every day together, no matter what. And suddenly, before I knew it, they were gone. And there wasn't anything that I was able to do about it.
Did you love them?
Yes, I love them very much, with all of my heart. And I still do. But I know that they're not around anymore, and I know that it's been many years since they left me. But I know that they're still there, up in the sky, during the night when the stars are out. Sometimes I think some of those shining stars are her beautiful eyes, shining down upon me and watching over me. I wish I could see them again, even once.
Do you think that my mom does the same to me?
I think she does. I know she does.
I loved her.
I'm sure you did, and I'm sure she loved you with all her heart as well. I came to the monastery to see if I could wash myself of my woes. And I've been here for a few days now, and the weight still weighs down upon me every night. But I hope that one day, when I'm here, I can finally learn to let things be and maybe let her go. But I don't know if I'm ready yet.
I understand. They say that when you lose people and you're sad about them leaving, it's because they made you happy and it's because they loved you so much. If there is no pain, then there was no love. And even if it doesn't go away, even if the pain does not go away, at least you know that at one point in your life you had a wonderful person with you.
Yes, I suppose you're very right about that. Thank you. So remember, little Ruby Sue, always keep your loved ones close and tell them how you feel about them as much as you can.
Can I give you a hug?
Of course you may. And I think B goes in to hug little Ruby Sue in this heartfelt moment. I think you've given me the strength that I needed for today. I will do my best to live up to her memory and do my best to grow and overcome this weight. So thank you so much, young one. Thank you. And I think she gets up off the ground after hugging Ruby Sue and starts walking back towards the monastery door. Sort of a tear maybe falling down from her face and onto the ground.
Ruby Sue is going to go back to the bushes and she's going to grab some more flowers and she's going to walk up to Novak. Mr. Novak?
I think Novak is kneeling beside a grave now. I think that he has, in fact, found it. And as Ruby walks up, he will wipe his tears a little bit and will say, yes, young Ruby Sue, how can I help you?
Can you help me make a grave for my mom?
I would love to. Do you have any of hers that you, anything of hers that you would like to bury? Just so that a piece of her might stay here in this sanctuary, safe and protected.
Yeah. Hang on, give me a second. And Ruby Sue like opens up like her cloak, and there's a big pocket inside, and she pulls out this this sewing kit, like this tiny pouch that is like a sewing kit that her mother always used. I have this one. She used it to make me clothes.
Well, let's find a suitable place then. And we can wander, maybe closer to the edge where if we dig, it won't disturb anyone else's grave. And we can dig a small hole and bury this sewing kit. Do you want to say anything? A prayer to the old and forgotten gods?
I just want to say, I love you, Mom. And I'm going to look up to the sky because that's what B said earlier. I mean, that's all I have to say.
That's all you need to say, I think.
And also, Mr. Novak, thank you so much. I love you.
I love you too, Ruby Sue. And Novak will give her a very gentle hug. Now someone else take the reins.
Oh, my heart.
Well, Ruby does have a token
My
now because
heart.
she has given away something that she's held dear.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Let's take it in for a landing, folks.
I'm so
Oh
sorry.
my god.
It's fine. I'm a mess.
do we want to maybe do a small vignette of
Yeah.
once the group's reunited, some activity that we're doing together as we close out
Yeah.
this day in the monastery?
Yeah.
Gathered around maybe on the front step where that rocking chair we all brought out was.
I think we're maybe like all reading a book together.
Mm-hmm.
What book does everyone read? Novak is reading a classic, a tale, just a very simple, old kind of mythological thing that was a very big favorite of his former colleague.
I think Soul took a gander at the non-fiction section, just like one of the autobiographies that someone had written while being in the sanctuary for inspiration, and they're just kind of reading it, looking at some like the drawings in it, beetles hanging off of the very top of their hat, the very front of their hat, kind of pushing it down a bit.
Basil wanted to read about pursuit, and so he's picked up a series of poems called Sonnets for a Shepherd that is written from the perspective of someone who has fallen in love with a wandering shepherd years ago and is seeking to find them again. And when he sees something that really connects with him, he copies it into his own book and underlines it.
I think Angelo is reading sort of based on a true story novel, on Wings of Truth.
Ruby Sue does not know how to read, so not yet. So
Soon.
she's currently using a coloring book. And
Oh, so cute.
What is she coloring? Oh, what if it's a coloring book that the pages are these stained glass windows, and so you can color in the various
Oh.
panes?
And Ruby Sue is totally just like lying on her tummy, like with like her feet sort of bent up,
Yeah.
and just coloring totally out of the lines.
We should stay at places like this more often. It's nice to be able to take life so slowly sometimes.
Take in the noise, fresh night air.
I wonder why it's so quiet here. There was so much buzzing outside the monastery, but here it feels like the entire world has stood still.
Out of the corner of your eyes is this light bluish glow coming, just peeking around the corner. And as the night reaches that point of dusk, from the ground around all of us, the moss, these little glows of light, the fireflies coming out, filling the air, and a quiet scamper of little feet bouncing off through the moss in the back at the graveyard kind of completes the only noise you would hear in this space, the moss holding in every other noise as we sort of drift ourselves, the audience, drifting out up towards the sky where the stars seem to just illuminate otherworldly.
And that was Wanderhome, Part 2, Sam's birthday special.
Yeah.
Once again, happy birthday, Sam.
Yay.
Happy birthday,
Happy
Sam.
birthday,
Y'all made me
Sam.
cry.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. If you enjoyed Wanderhome, this was quite different from last year's. Go down to the description, buy this game, play this game with your friends, play this game.
It's so good.
and
Very good.
So good.
Play
Game
it.
is by
Support
J Dragon
Dragon.
and Possum Creek Games.
Yes. There's a link down below in the description of this episode.
Oh.
If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a rating or review on
Apple Podcasts.
If you enjoyed this, please leave a rating or review.
I got
Okay,
it.
you
Thank
sure?
you.
You sure?
Are you sure?
okay.
Okay.
If you enjoyed this episode or any of the other ones we make, go leave a review and a rating on Apple Podcasts or any other podcatcher of choice. That helps other people find us, puts us in the charts, and just helps the show grow. And it just feels really nice to read all the reviews that you guys write. Also, we have a Discord server. Link is in the description as well. We have Instagram and Twitter at Trials and Trebs. You can send us art. You can see art that we get made. You can see teasers, or listen to teasers rather, and all of the like. We also have a Patreon, patreon.com/trialsandtrebs. You can see DM notes. You can listen to blooper reels, and you can vote on other bonus episodes. Not the birthday ones, just the regular ones. And finally, there is a merch store, trialsandtrebuchets.com, or more lovingly known,
Trebmerch.com.
Trebmerch.com.
Trebmerch.com. Unfortunately, there is no Ruby Sue making everyone cry sticker, but there's some other wonderful stickers and cool shirt to check out as well. And if you
There's
buy
no
them,
Ruby Sue making everyone cry sticker yet.
But that's every way that you can interact or support or follow up with us. We appreciate it. We appreciate you listening. And until next time, bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Take care.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
All right, and that.